Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today I'm going to make another gravity dyed shirt, but I'm going to make this one a spiral. The shirt was prepped like normal and I have it turned inside out. For my setup, I'm using a couple of sawhorses with a piece of vinyl guttering in between. Then down underneath the guttering, I have a plastic tote or container to catch any of the runoff from the dye. The shirt is still damp, and I'm placing it down on the piece of vinyl guttering, and in the lower portion of the shirt, I'm going to start to spiral the shirt. I want to just give a little bit of movement to the shirt, not necessarily try to make a perfect spiral. I don't know if you've seen a couple of my other gravity dyes, but one of them I just lightly twisted the shirt, and it made a really cool effect going down the shirt, so I thought I would try to just kind of do a little bit of a spiral in the shirt and see what happened. Then I placed a small metal wire container, which I purchased from the Dollar Tree dollar store, on top of the spiral. I'm going to add just a little bit of ice to that container and then add the dye inside. I'm doing this dye process underneath my trees outside, so all the different light variation is the light streaming through the leaves. For this shirt, I thought I would try some darker colors. I'm starting with Dances with Raisins from Dharma, and I'm going to apply the dye in wedges or pie shapes. Then across from the Dances with Raisins, I'm going to put Black Cherry from Dharma. Now I'm using Eggplant from Dharma, and the final color is Dark Cherry from Dye Spin. I'm going to add a little bit of soda ash on top of the dye and then another layer of ice. It was about 105 degrees outside, so the ice was melting pretty fast. I came back and put several different layers of ice on the shirt. I kept adding ice until the dye had moved or gotten to the far edges of the shirt. Just about the time that happened, a thunderstorm blew up. So I ended up taking the shirt along with another one that I was gravity dyeing and placed it down inside of a container, put the lid on it, and took it inside for a few hours. After the thunderstorm passed, I left it in the container but put it back outside to allow it to process in the heat. I left the shirt for about 24 hours before I started rinsing it. To rinse the shirt, I took it to my utility sink and I started rinsing it in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. I warmed the water up to hot and I continued rinsing until the water was almost clear. The hot water will get out any of the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. When the water was almost clear, I put the shirt along with some Dharma's textile detergent into my washing machine and I washed it using a hot water cycle. Then after the shirt was washed and dried, this is what it looks like. Okay, so what do you guys think? You definitely can see the spiral on the shirt. I mean, the spiral isn't perfect, but I wasn't really trying to make it perfect. I just wanted to get some extra dye movement on the shirt, and I think I achieved that. I think the dye movement in this shirt is really cool. The lines radiating out from the spiral and then how they just kind of dissipate as it gets out toward the outer edges of the shirt. I think that's a really cool effect. I also really like the colors on this shirt. They didn't turn out quite as dark as I was expecting. I mean, I did use black cherry and Dances with Raisins, eggplant. All of those are pretty dark colors. But I also added a lot of ice. And I placed the colors over the top of the ice. So I think that kind of made a difference in the whole colors being a little bit lighter too. In a perfect world, I would have preferred to have been able to leave the shirt outside for the entire time, not have to put it inside of a container. But I think it would have been a mess if I would have left it outside, because not long after I put it inside, we had a torrential downpour. I mean, let's get real, it hasn't rained for like a month, but when I put a shirt out to gravity dye, that's when it pops up and rains. I'm happy for the rain, so I guess I can't complain. I only have a couple areas on this shirt that are a little bit darker or speckled with dye. Placing the dye over the top of the ice helps to reduce that just a little bit with the gravity dyes. I've done a couple of them, and the first one I didn't place the dye over the top of the ice. I just placed it directly on the shirt. And it did okay. You could see a little bit of darker space right down the middle of the shirt where I placed the dye, but it wasn't bad. I did another one at the same time though, where I placed the dye directly on the shirt and I used really dark colors. I wasn't really happy with the way that one turned out though. I could see a difference in the shirt where I placed the dye. It was darker, and I don't know, the whole shirt was so pretty, but just that one area really annoyed me. So I've actually dyed over the top of that shirt, and I'll make a video showing what I did to it later. But since then, I've been trying to place just even a very thin layer of ice down before I put the dye down on the shirt. I just think it seems to work better for the way I've been doing it, to place a little bit of ice, let the dye kind of melt into the ice, and then melt into the shirt. That avoids some of the harsh areas on the shirt from where the dye was placed. Makes the shirt look a little bit more fluid. So I'm really having fun doing these gravity dyes. There's a lot of things you can do with them, and I just love the dye movement. It's such a unique effect. So why don't you guys drop me some comments down below and let me know what you think. And if you've enjoyed watching me make the shirt, I sure would appreciate it if you would like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.